It's a little after midnight, and you're driving west on Highway 90, somewhere past Marfa. There's nothing out here, no towns, no streetlights, just you, the dark, and 100 miles of empty Texas. Then you see it, a light, out on the horizon, where you know there's no road, no house, no reason for a light to be. It's not a car, it's not a star. It splits into two, then it's gone. People have been watching that exact light since 1883. 140 years, thousands of witnesses, scientists, physicists, the state of Texas itself. They've all tried to explain it, and they can't. Not really. Because every time someone thinks they've solved the Marfa Lights, the oldest sighting proves them wrong. The first person to write it down was a cowboy named Robert Ellison. In 1883, he was driving cattle through the Paisano Pass when he saw lights flickering out near the Chinati Mountains. And Ellison did the reasonable thing. He assumed they were Apache campfires. So the next morning, he rode out to where the fires had been. There was nothing there. No ash, no burnt ground, no sign that anyone had ever camped on that spot. Just empty desert, exactly like every other patch of desert around it. Ellison told his story, and the strangest part is what happened next. Everyone who lived out there already knew about the lights. The settlers knew, and the people they'd taken the land from, the Apache, they'd known for generations. Ellison wasn't the first person to see the lights. He was just the first to admit he couldn't explain them. But he definitely wasn't the last. Here's what makes the Marfa Lights so hard to dismiss. They don't behave like anything. Witnesses, thousands of them, describe glowing orbs, usually the size of a basketball. Sometimes white, sometimes yellow, sometimes red or blue. They hover just above the ground. They drift, they split apart, and then merge back together. Some people say they've watched the lights chase each other across the desert, like they were playing. And then they wink out, gone, only to appear somewhere else entirely. This isn't a story a few people tell. So many people come to see them that in 2003, the state of Texas built a permanent viewing platform on Highway 90 with a parking lot and restrooms, just so tourists have somewhere to stand and watch. Think about that. A U.S. state built a rest stop for a ghost light. By the early 2000s, scientists decided enough was enough. It was time to solve this thing for good. And for a while, it looked like they had. In 2004, a group of physics students from the University of Texas at Dallas went out to Marfa with cameras and instruments. They spent nights measuring the lights, and they found something, a pattern. The lights lined up, almost perfectly, with headlights from cars driving on Highway 67, miles away across the desert. Out on the flat West Texas plain, layers of hot and cold air stack up at night. Light passing through those layers bends. It stretches, splits, and floats. A mirage, the same trick that makes a puddle appear on a hot road. Distant headlights, warped by the air, turned into hovering orbs that dance and vanish. It fit. It explained the colors. It explained the movement. It explained why the lights appear in the same stretch of sky every night. Case closed. The Marfa Lights were just headlights and hot air. Except for one problem. Go back to Robert Ellison, 1883. The first car wouldn't be built for another 3 years. and it was in Germany. It would be decades before automobiles rattled across West Texas. In 1883, there were no headlights on Highway 67 because there was no Highway 67. There was no highway anywhere near Marfa. And Ellison wasn't alone in the old days. There are accounts of the lights from settlers, from ranchers, from the Apache, all from a time when the brightest thing moving across that desert at night was a lantern or a campfire. The mirage theory is probably right about what a lot of modern tourists see. Warped headlights are real, but it cannot explain the lights that people saw before headlights existed. And those are the sightings that started all of this. So if it wasn't cars in 1883, what was it? The people who were there first had an answer. To the Apache who lived in these mountains, the lights weren't a mystery to be solved. They were spirits. Some tie them to Alsate, a legendary Apache chief who was betrayed and killed. His spirit, they say, still walks the Chinati Mountains, carrying a light through the dark. You don't have to believe that, but it's worth noticing something. The oldest human explanation for the Marfa Lights is a ghost story, and 140 years of science still hasn't fully replaced it. So the next time you find yourself out on Highway 90 after midnight, past Marfa, where there's nothing but you and the dark, and a light appears on the horizon where no light should be. Maybe it's a car, 40 miles away, bent by the desert air. Or maybe it's the same thing a cowboy rode out to find in 1883 and came back with nothing. Either way, you're going to keep watching. Everybody does.